You're listening to Never Sleeps Network.
Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Extreme, where I'm really close to the microphone.
Hi.
My name is Zach.
My name is Joey. My name is Joey.
And this is a podcast where we dig deep on your favorite video games and surprise the shit out of you by switching from low volume to high volume because we're wacky like that. Woo!
That's right, Zach.
You know, you can't call yourself wacky. It kind of like dilutes the wackiness, you know?
But it like makes you a little bit more wacky in another way.
This is like a philosophical argument of how can we be the wackiest, but without calling ourselves wacky?
That's right, Zach.
Zachy. Oh my god. It's like when you say a word a dozen times and then it means nothing anymore.
Yeah.
Anyway, welcome to another episode of Extreme. That was a weird tangent. We are still running through Hyper Light Drifter, and actually today, this kind of snuck up on me, but we're finishing the game.
Woo! That's whack.
Yeah.
That's whack.
Man, can you muster up a little bit more enthusiasm? Like, how about like just one notch more?
Yeah.
All right, I'll take it. I didn't want you to strain your enthusiasm button.
Oh yeah. Gotta save it for the end of the game.
Exactly. Let's hold on that, and we're gonna jump straight into it. And last time we really had so much to talk about. We have another time to talk about so much to talk about now, but we have the time. So let's take a quick break, and then we're gonna dive right into it.
Yes.
And welcome back.
Hey.
Okay, no segue. We're just jumping straight into it. We're in the southern area now because we've finally been allowed to go there now.
Oh yeah.
Well, I mean, it seemed a bit odd because you could go in any direction, northeast and west, but not south. I mean,
Yeah. I
It
guess
kind-
because. Well, go on.
no, I was gonna say it'd been kind of cool if they had like a modular design with that, where the last place that you go is gated off, and then the
Right.
gate kind of disappears because you've seen that
Right.
you've done
But
all
they-
the others.
Yeah, but they made like the southern zone the hardest, so I guess that's why they did that.
That's true, but maybe they could like in the way of making it a modular game design, like if you know that they're going to be finishing up the East End last because they've done North, South, and West, then you could just shift the layout of the southern area to the western area or the eastern area, and it'd be the same thing, but it would just be the map would be shifted.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, makes sense.
Again, it's a completely optional thing.
Yeah,
I think it would have been cool from a pacing perspective.
Right.
But I mean, again, it's all about their design choices and how they want to tell their story. So because
Also,
they wanted... Yeah, go on.
If you do that, then it's like not uniform to everyone who plays it. So it's hard to like compare and have stats and all that stuff.
That's true. And it adds a lot of technical pressure on the team to create something like that. Because when you're creating like a roguelike-esque kind of game where it can be modular like that and it changes up all the time, you're right, 100%. It's not the same experience for everybody. But to make a truly modular and roguelike experience that's fun, you really got to put in a lot of effort.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But I digress.
Yes.
As we move through the southern area, you again see Anubis pretty much immediately leading to the Traveler, and then the Traveler is on his last legs, basically.
Mm-hmm. Of course.
The Traveler then tells you their story about what happens to them. From the pictures, this is what I got out of it. Their family was killed by something. The Traveler set off after saying his goodbyes to the recently departed. Ended up going to see the Anubis dog the same way that the Drifter did. In a reality that seemed to be falling apart because there was little static blurs around himself. It kind of seems like the Traveler and you have a lot in common.
Yeah.
Based on that, and sadly, they have a little bit more in common than we think, as the Traveler keels over and dies.
Aww.
Again, it's hard to make an emotional connection because all they've done up to this point is shown us where the core crystals are.
Yeah. They're
actually,
not
no.
people.
You know what? In the beginning, the dude saved us. So,
True.
You know what? I take that back. There's been a connection. It's been understated. And that's I guess kind of the pitfall that comes with a game that only relies on pictorial like exposition.
Yeah. It's like you're cool, but like can't really talk to you, so
like I'd like to learn more about these people who mean so much, but I mean again, you do learn it a little bit later in the game, but it's like it starts off with a really sick meeting moment where they establish that this character is important in the game, in that they save you from certain doom, but then they just kind of are there, like hovering in the areas. Like again, I don't know if they're trying to save you, or he's trying to save you in these areas by clearing out some of these enemies, but it's not clear. It's just up to the mind of the player to figure that out.
Yeah.
Either way, we get his costume actually as he dies, which seems a bit odd. So the Traveler just dies, and the Drifter's like, "I like that coat.
It's a good coat.
I want to take that.
Commemorate him.
I'm going to commemorate him by stealing that coat. I'm so sorry. You helped me out a lot, and you've been a cool dude, but goddamn, that's a cool coat."
That's a cool coat.
It just seems like a weird thing. Like he's not saying at the end, like, "Take my things and go." It's just kind of like, "Yeah, right. Now you have his coat. Coat obtained." Ba-na-na-na. But as we move through the area, I thought I wanted to call that. It just seems like such a dichotomy between how they wanted to set up the character initially, where it's like a rescuing figure, like a heroic figure to you, and then how do you commemorate this heroic figure in your life? By stealing their coat. I don't know.
Why not?
It's just an awkward bit of storytelling, As we move through, though, there's a secondary story that's related to the southern area itself, told by a robo-reptile. Looks like a robo-reptile.
Yeah, I would say reptile.
And then they start off this incredibly long and detailed exposition with tons of pictures where it's a picture. It starts off with a picture of a mysterious cycloptic cult. And I lied. That's it. That was it. That's the end. That's the end of the exposition. That's the shortest exposition of all time.
It was like a just piece of art.
It was like, hey, look at this picture I got.
What are you
Look
supposed
at
to
it.
do?
Put it up to your face and look harder.
You just gotta look at it, man.
Just like when somebody's like, look at my awesome picture my kid drew, and it's like literal diarrhea vomit, and it's like putting it up to my face. I'm like, no, it smells like macaroni art. Anyway.
True story.
This is what happens when I have coffee while we're recording, and it ends up being a great idea.
Yes.
As we move through, though, there's more environmental storytelling as they have posed statues of corpses of NPCs from the previous areas. So
Yes.
they're on like they're perched on podiums.
Mm-hmm.
So it kind of makes me feel like the southern area was maybe a gathering spot for maybe the brighter minds of the world.
Interesting. Or just the leaders.
Or the leaders of the world of those worlds. Maybe
They're
that's
not
where
always
they're
the brightest.
I was thinking it was kind of like a UN situation.
Okay, yeah.
Or it could also just be a meeting of dumb people. You know, like they have in most areas. It's like, come to the dumb convention where we act dumb 24/8.
You want a statue made out of you?
Do you want to commemorate how dumb you are? Then cast yourself in the plaster and become the statue.
And give us $1 billion.
Prior to being cast, though, we need that money.
Money first.
Money first. But then there's an interesting thing where you try opening up an area core, and then most of the times previously, it's just that's been it. You open up the core, and then it recognizes that you've opened a core. It says, hey, you opened a core. Great, we move on. But this time, when you open a core, it actually is not a core. An enemy boss appears.
Yeah, that was scary as shit.
I was not actually paying attention. I zoned out when I hit the button to open it, and then I was grabbing something on the couch, and then I at my periphery was like, oh shit, no, things are happening. And because it became really suddenly, it shifted to like a bullet hell style shooter.
Right.
Where they had just like tons of rectangular bullets coming at you.
Oh my god.
It's like it's like R-Type all of a sudden.
Yeah, you probably died there.
I did. Well, I didn't know what was happening.
Yeah.
But dodging is honestly near impossible since you need to get in and strike them.
Right.
And the way that they set up the boss is they have these little like gun nodes that hover around it that shoot the bullets. But you have to get in to slice it to get your gun weapon back because you can't just shoot it all the time.
Right.
So the thing is, it's kind of forcing you to get specific upgrades to actually deal with this kind of attack.
Ooh, nice.
Because there are certain upgrades that allow you to cut through bullets or to reflect bullets as you're dashing. So if you just had it without that, you'd get destroyed.
Yeah. So that's good.
No, yeah, what were you going to say? I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, I was like, that's good. Like,
It's
makes it like worth it to get the other weapons.
Exactly, and it kind of forces you to explore and look at the other upgrade components that you may have missed before, or you may be focused on one too heavily. So it's kind of saying like, look, I get that this is important, but you also need to understand that sometimes there's going to be other stuff that may be helping you out in the future, or maybe they just wanted you to try out those game mechanics.
Yeah. Well, if you don't get it, you can't beat this guy.
That's true. And then once you beat this guy, you are treated with the most creepy fucking thing that I've seen in this game. Just straight up gigantic moving Titan eyeballs in jars.
Yeah, those things.
It was creepy as hell, right?
What is the point of that? I don't even know.
I have no idea. But the music switched to an incredibly ominous tone, kind of like in dramatic movie trailers where they have like in an Inception, they just have like a tuba playing where it's like, it's like, oh shit. Did Leonardo DiCaprio realize that the dreidel is still spinning? I mean, the top. Sorry, excuse me for being too Jewish. That's what I think it came to mind.
I mean, that's normal, you know?
Yeah,
everyone should call it a dreidel.
That's how I know it.
Top could be confusing.
Yeah, it's like a shirt that's spinning around. What's up with that?
Yeah.
That makes no sense. Shirts can't spin unless they're on a mannequin that spins.
Oh.
Anyway, apparently the Titan's eyeballs are just alive in there for, I guess, this looks more like a scientific study area. Actually, like a laboratory is the word. That's a word that describes what I just said in a more succinct fashion.
Right, or scientific study area, research place.
Yeah, the place with the stuff. It's got beakers and Bunsen's and
and
that guy from the Muppets who goes me 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 me.
Yep.
I clearly have not been to a laboratory in quite a while.
No, they have those.
It's mandatory.
Yeah.
In like each lab, they just have beaker going.
When you walk in, you have to do the Spock signal and go me 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 me.
That would be the best. I would love going to work. Be like, credentials, please. Me 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 me. Clearly, you're allowed here. Please walk in. But as we move on here, there's more story actually. They told by regular reptiles found in a cave or something.
Or something.
So they basically were poking around and found one of the elevators that we've been using to go into these underground caverns. They started poking around and accidentally reactivated those angry robots that one of which we've already fought.
Nice. Good deduction.
So yeah, I guess, but there's like, again, another bit of a story element here. They have two kind of factions of reptile. They have the robo reptile and the normal reptile.
Right.
So maybe there's, what's interesting though, is for the other areas, there's only been the one faction, but in this one, they have the two opposing factions.
Right.
I mean, I don't know if they're opposing, but they're not,
two.
They're definitely not together.
More than one.
Perhaps maybe leading into a sequel. Perhaps leaving the door open for a sequel where the robo reptile ends up summoning something.
Oh shit! A sequel would be great.
I mean, I really like this game, so I would love to see another one of them.
And it's so confusing. Maybe they're like saving answers for the next game.
Yeah, I mean, the whole shtick of the game is mystery surrounding the storytelling. A lot of the information that I'm finding online is theoretical. So
yeah.
Anyway, just another funny thing I wanted to call out that they didn't have to do, but they did, and I liked it. They gave personality to the reptiles as you come in, where most of them just kind of run away from you, except for one reptile. Well, two. The one that's telling you the story, but there's another one who just kind of like runs in the back of the room, puts a box that does not fit their entire body on their head, and just doesn't move.
What's the deal with that?
I loved it. I thought it was hilarious. It gives so much personality to an NPC, which is like, they'll never find me here.
That's like the first like personality we see in this game.
I mean, the rest of them just been like, I'm sitting here brooding and I'm being upset. And this one actually just has like a, oh God, I know I'm not going to be able to fight this thing, but I don't know where to hide and I'm scared. Like giving an NPC an actual personality. I really appreciate that.
It's a nice touch.
So again, well done there. Oh my God, why am I forgetting the name of the developer? Heart Heart box? Oh my god, Joey. Look up what it is. I'm gonna say it like I'm gonna keep going, but you look it up.
All right.
There's a new enemy type though as we keep going. There's the rocket
Heart
launcher boy. What?
Heart machine.
Heart machine. Thank you, Heart machine. I'm so sorry. I love your game. There's a new enemy type as you move through the rocket launcher guy thing. Again, not great with the naming conventions, but
Rocket
Anyway.
launcher guy thing.
What's interesting is that the rockets lock onto you, but can be redirected to actually hit other enemies if you evade well enough. Again, I'm calling this out because it's completely different shift from all the other enemies. In that you can actually use their weapon against other enemies.
Yeah.
But you do need to be careful because the rocket cannot be deflected or cut in half by your bullet deflecting upgrades.
Right.
So you need to be very careful when you are dodging.
Yes.
So it's a big shift in the combat mechanics of how you approach this kind of an enemy.
Right.
Which
If
is
you've
great.
been- yeah.
Sorry, no, go on.
If you've been doing it that way.
Exactly, and it forces you to try a new way of fighting these enemies, and it forces you to learn the new strategies. And what's the best part is honestly they didn't give up in the final area and just recycle all of the old enemies, which a lot of games tend to
Yeah.
do.
Yes.
Where they're just like, that's the end. Let's just throw everything that was before onto here. No, they keep throwing on new enemies, which is fantastic.
Yeah, well, the Southern Zone is like not a culmination, really. It's just the fourth zone.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
It feels like a culmination, but it's not. You're right. But as you move on, there's another piece of environmental storytelling where it seems like gigantic robots in some of these underground laboratories were taken down by spears, which I take to have meant that the initial normal reptiles were the ones taking down these robots, but there might have been a lot more of them back when they
Yeah.
actually had their war against the robots.
Right. Or something.
Yeah, because the reptiles that you see, not just in the pictures, but in the cave themselves, have spears. You put two and two together, and it shows that they had a big war, at least a large-scale battle with a bunch of these robots after they were reactivated.
Yeah.
And then as you move on, there's another robotic boss fight. And initially, this one seems pretty easy. It shoots two energy balls and rams into you and kind of rinse and repeat. But
Yeah.
what makes it hard is that it ramps up when it removes the goddamn floor. It's like it's like
Right.
pulls up a screen and it's just like, nah, I'm gonna change reality right now. 1 sec, and it just removes the floors.
Boom. Now, where do you even go?
But not even that. But like, it opens up so many questions. Is this actual reality? Are we in the Matrix? How did you pull up a console that removed the floor?
Maybe the floor was never even there.
I mean, that's some Matrix ass Matrix shit.
I don't know. Sorry
Nailed
for the weird
it.
sounds.
No. Don't apologize for your random sounds. I don't apologize for mine.
It was a fake apology.
Oh, good. But yeah, I mean, this fight is very interesting in that it's not super hard once you understand, but that hook of, again, it comes back to changing the landscape of a fight to make fighting easy-ish enemies more difficult. Which they did initially in the earlier stages of the game, but it's kind of brought back and kind of in the culmination of that, like using it as a boss mechanic. So I appreciate that they didn't give up on that mechanic wholeheartedly and just kind of brought it back for the boss.
Yeah.
And then as you actually move through this area, there's another bit of environmental storytelling. There's a giant vat with a floating robot.
Oh my god.
And the tank is cracked.
It's cracked?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah. The glass, you mean?
Yeah, the glass is cracked. Initially, I thought maybe this would be a boss later
Right.
because it looked like
Is
it
this
would
like
be
the
setting up for
boss?
what?
Yeah. It's like, is this the boss?
It could be. I mean, that was the thing, because it seemed like it was maybe setting it up to be like, you see this thing here? You see how it's almost escaped? Yeah.
Yeah.
Leave the area and see what happens.
Hasn't escaped yet.
Yeah. So it kind of sets up that bit of environmental storytelling where you think that's where it's going to be going. So, but actually it redirects you and it ends up actually not being a boss. But it leaves you thinking that it might have been, which is interesting. Because they didn't have to focus the camera on it. It's such a large piece of the foreground in the shot as you're leaving that you're forced to focus on it. And then you think like, oh, is this important? Probably. It takes up so much space here as opposed to the other areas or the other vials. Right. And maybe something's going to happen with this. But no, it's a complete misdirect and it's absolutely nothing.
It kind of looks like a darkness thing.
It could be.
Maybe it could like change form or somewhat.
Maybe. If it did, then I was none the wiser. But as we move on here, there's another bit of environmental gameplay that I wanted to call out. And Joey, I have another formula for you. Bust out your calculator to tell me the answer to this one.
All right, let me just get it out here.
Okay. Is there a sound effect for pulling out your calculator?
Nope.
Oh, okay. So you ready?
Yeah.
All right. Type this in. Turrets plus exploding barrels multiplied by gremlins equals... What does it equal?
42.
You're right. It is the answer to life. How did you know that?
I used the calculator.
Oh my God. The life calculator? The one that the all-knowing robot gave us?
No, the Texas TM-88.
Oh. I forgot that was also a direct line to the Time Lord and could tell us all the secrets of life through a Texas Instrument calculator.
That one or like, the other one.
The answer I was going for was like more like fuck me sideways. Like something like that. Because it's very hard.
Yeah.
Not being you know what I mean. It's a very difficult area to just navigate environmentally and with these hazards thrown in. Again, we're getting close.
Places to fall.
Exactly. We're adding a lot of different elements from previous areas together. And again, I said that was a bad thing, but when it comes together, not as like the only thing,
right? Like
obviously you're allowed to do it. That's the whole point of culmination of difficulty.
Yeah.
If you don't do that, then all the skills that you've learned from that point on seem almost like moot.
Useless. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm not saying don't do it. It's just about how you do it.
Yeah.
Anyway. Sorry, go on. I'm going to take a sip of my coffee.
That was a good point. I like it.
Cool. Oh my God. All right. I think we need to take a quick break.
Let's do it.
So we're about 20 some minutes in and there doesn't seem to be a logical stopping point considering we're going to be finishing up.
2 bosses, that's a good spot.
Yeah. So let's take a break and we'll be right back with more of the extreme.
Yeah!
Man, that banter would have been really funny to have on tape.
Oh yeah, we should have recorded it.
We should have recorded that. Come to think of it. Oh well, now it seems disingenuous if we try it right now.
Yeah, too bad.
Too bad. Sorry, guys. But what we do have for you is another robot boss.
Yes.
This one is the Scythe robot that was actually in the pictorial story that one of the reptiles told you.
Yeah.
Which is weirdly the easiest boss.
Was it easier than the toad?
Yes. I had no trouble with this boss at all.
Nice.
Maybe it's because I had gone through all the trials and tribulations beforehand, but this seemed easy.
Yeah. All right. Cool.
Because all it does is rush in and slash, and then sometimes it spins the scythe like a boomerang. But that's it. Like, there's pretty easy to see it telegraph the attacks, and you can just wail on it for most of the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool. So yeah, I don't know. It just seemed like maybe that was the difficulty curve kind of catching up to my own skill, and I was just like, about time.
Yeah, maybe you're just good at the game now.
I mean, it was about damn time. But as we move through, we hit the fourth cube in the area. We have the same visions as before, but the blackness, again, this time a completely different way of taking you out. Just while not looking at you, impales you through the chest with its sword arm, lifts you off the ground, and just doesn't even watch you die. You just die.
Right. Or fake die.
Or fake die, because you wake up and you're fine. But then there's one last robot that I ended up having to fight to get to the final boss. It's there's so many goddamn robot bosses. That's the thing. What makes the southern area so hard? It doesn't just have one big boss; it has 4 big bosses.
Yeah, basically, for every cube piece or whatever.
Exactly. And this boss was a bit hard, but it's literally just a Hawkeye.
Yeah.
The best way for me to describe fighting this boss is it's fighting Hawkeye. They shoot a bow and arrow, and then we'll lay traps every so often. And shoot arrows into the sky to lay traps. It's really weird because they're not one of those brawlers that gets in close that you have to worry about. You are the one who needs to get in close all the time.
Right.
You need to stick.
Looks like you too.
Yeah, I mean they all kind of do. But the thing is,
I guess.
For this one, usually you need to keep your distance from them. But this one, you can actually just kind of stay in as close as possible for most amount of time. It feels weird because it's a differentiation where you are the one doing the pressuring.
True. Whoa.
Yeah, right? It's kind of a nice change of pace. Usually they're pressuring you.
Yeah. It's like you're the boss.
You are the boss. Like
the boss.
Yeah, like that song by the Depressed Archipelago people. Did you get that or no?
No.
Oh, I was trying to make a stupid allegory to Lonely Island.
What did you say?
The Depressed Archipelago.
Oh my god.
Anyway, as we finish up, god damn it, I know that was bad. Don't edit in I
appreciate it.
Paul, edit in a stupid sound effect or whatever. I don't even care. Anyway, as we move through this final area, Joey, is there a giant Titan heart?
No.
No, the answer is yes.
Wait, yes.
It's a giant pulsating Titan heart. So there's something going on in this area. They've been dissecting and analyzing the Titan that they killed.
Right.
And it looks like the Titan is part robot. So maybe this is the doing of that mysterious cult that the robo-reptile was telling him about? Wink, wink.
Ooh. Maybe this is the heart of the thing.
The thing? The heart
Yeah,
of the world?
whatever it is. Oh,
It-
what if the world is this being?
I mean, that would be really interesting. It'd be like a whole new take on what the meaning of this world was. But I don't think
Like
that's quite it.
Stranger
I think
Things.
it's just a giant titan heart that they're studying for purposes beyond our understanding.
Yeah, that's probably the most likely scenario.
But it's interesting also because in the background you see the dismembered Titan corpse, which has its rib cage
Yeah.
ripped open and like area like stairwells going in and out of it, like
Yeah.
making it real. Like it's like when you're dissecting something in your lab, but on a scale of it being like the size of a fucking Goliath.
Yeah.
It's interesting. It's just more beautiful environmental storytelling.
It is quite beautiful.
This game is like the master of environmental storytelling from what I can tell.
Yeah.
But as we move through and head back to the town, we've gotten all of the cubes and everything, and now the center of the town ends up becoming an elevator that we take deep underground.
Yeah.
It's real deep.
It's a long little elevator cutscene.
Yes, and we end up crossing an invisible bridge with no visible significance. I don't know, actually.
Indiana Jones style.
Perhaps. I don't know. It just seems a bit odd. Like, they could have just made that bridge visible. It didn't really seem to need to be invisible.
Just to like make it a little weird.
Yeah, maybe a little more ominous. And it's like, trust your instincts. I'm turning off the nav computer, and I'm walking on air. But you know shit's about to go down because you are placed in front of a health trove. You know what I mean? Like where they have just a bunch of health packs around.
Yeah.
So shit's about to go down.
Like, okay, yeah.
That's the most obvious symbol that shit is about to go down.
Yes. It'd be funny if they did that and nothing happened.
Oh God, that would be so good. That would be such a good
Little joke thing.
Oh my God. Just removing that paradigm from the equation and just being like, we're undercutting all your expectations. Literally, there's nothing here.
If anyone's making a game, please do that.
Oh my God, that would be the best subversion. Anyway, though, they do not subvert, and the main boss of the game that has been tormenting you through the visions actually appears. The darkness itself. I believe its name is Judgment.
Whoa.
Very ominous.
That is ominous.
And then most of the attacks mimic what was actually shown in the visions, except for it has a giant laser beam attack and ominously throws 3 floating eyeballs into a field of darkness. And if you're remotely close to where any of those eyeballs are, you're fucked.
Yeah.
It just rains down a torrent of darkness.
Torrent of Darkness.
That sounds like it'd be a really good Metallica album name.
Yes. Perfect.
Welcome to the torrent of darkness.
The Torrent of Darkness.
I'd listen. But again, like this boss, you've learned and culminated your skills up to this point where it's not a crazy threat. I actually took this boss down my first try. I'm not trying to brag, but hashtag humble brag.
You're good at the game, I guess.
But you actually end the fight by jumping up and stabbing it through the skull. But actually, you're stabbing the crystal that was there, which I guess is the hyperlight cube, because it's shown in the beginning of the beginning of the game. But as you stab the cube, shit hits the fan for real. You're trying to escape these crumbling ruins by following the Anubis, and you actually can't do anything except walk. Any button presses or attempts to get any of that health from the health trove just makes you cough up blood.
Yeah.
So you have to just keep moving. Interesting little side note: after you escape, I got this trophy on my version that was called Bully.
Bully?
Yeah, are we the bad guy? in the game for beating all the bosses?
That's weird.
Or is it to signify that we have beaten the bully? I don't know. It just seems like an interesting little... They can name those trophies whatever they want. And the description of that trophy is you've beaten all of the bosses.
Okay.
Why would you be called bully?
Yeah, that's weird.
Maybe it's signifying that really you aren't the good guy.
That's so
Maybe you're the one who's upset the natural order. Maybe you're the villain.
Shit.
Something to consider. As we go on, though, the ending. I'm actually just going to read something that I found that really digs into the ending, as opposed to me just saying my own little, my little spiel here. You descend the elevator. Sorry, no, we already talked about that. You confront. No, we can talk about it. So the hyperlight cube is actually called the Immortal Cell, which is interesting. I didn't really realize that. You overcome judgment and destroy it once and for all. However, we were too late to save ourselves. At some point in the quest, it probably occurred to the Drifter that the Immortal Cell was not the cure. Perhaps the Drifter only realized this at the very end when he plunged the sword into the Immortal Cell. Perhaps they were doomed from the start. When you were first touched by Anubis and judgment, your fate was sealed. However, you are too sick now to ever recover. You are too weak to dash, and health packs no longer heal you. Perhaps Anubis was working to keep you alive against the corrupting touch of judgment. Perhaps this is how you have survived all these fatal battles you fought and all the fatal wounds you've received, only to wake up sometime later. As the cavern collapses around you, Anubis leads you outside, showing you one final vision. The world free from the Immortal Cell's taint. He shows you a world in sunlight. The purple structure representing the wellspring fades away, signifying the rebirth of Anubis. The glowing pillars being held by the four once great races crumble, along with the Immortal Cell itself. The halo around Anubis' effigy fades, signifying the destruction of the Immortal Cell and the sins of the former races along with it. You are shown one last look at the world you saved. Ruined, desolate, but alive. And then you die, bleeding your lifeline into the peaceful ocean. Anubis no longer needs to unnaturally keep you alive, so he releases you from your fateful quest. You are safe in the knowledge that you've saved the world. Your vision ends, as does the game.
Ladies and gentlemen, Zach's storytime voice.
I was giving it a try. I'm also running.
Yes.
I'm running low on my normal voice, so I have to switch. But I wanted to just read that. I thought it was a good little narrative description of the ending.
Is that like a theory-based narrative or the actual story?
Parts of it are theory, parts of it are what actually happened. But I think the theory kind of peppers in a nice narrative touch. Makes it feel more like building a cohesive world around what's happening.
Right. Maybe you don't even die.
Who knows? Yeah. You may just not be dead.
Yeah. Sequel.
I mean, who knows? But before we end, actually, I wanted to do one last internet backstory.
Internet backstory. Oh, yeah.
That's right. Story time is not done because I did not explain the southern area. Are you ready for Zach's storytime voice once again?
Yes.
I'm actually going to take a sip of my coffee real quick. In the south, the lizard people's homeland. The story is not confirmed by the old elder lizard, but it contains speculation. The region was likely once the seat of technology in the ancient world. Machines were strewn everywhere, and parts of Titan's lie still active deep within the bowels of the earth. Overwhelming wonders and power. The monolith refers to the glory days of distant past when all races were working together for the greater good and creating technological marvels in the labs below. A few drones that remain active and many machine wrecks can be found in this land. Probably the machines that were used to fight with and against the Titans. A smaller number of these machines are found scattered around the world. The machines used to fight the Titans in the other cities. The races living in these lands had a deep-set desire to advance technologically. Just like humans in the real world, they had a great thirst for knowledge, desperate hunger for progress. However, their obsession with hubris and their unhealthy obsession with hubris resulted in them giving up their faith and morals in search of a greater God, in machines and technology. God found in one's own creations. They succeeded, creating artificial and cybernetic life in all the tanks in the lab below. The desert can confirm the non-active machines, cyborgs, blade bots, dirks, leapers, spider robots, and of course the area bosses. However, another being can be found in these tanks, a man-sized, blue-skinned, black-eyed creature. Likely the race that the Drifter belonged to is artificial, and the first created here in these labs. Distortion of life, devouring body. Created by the coalition of ancient races, they are also likely the most advanced artificial life, the culmination of technology, as the Drifter is clearly sentient where the other creatures in the lab are not. A Titan also lies beneath the labs, deep in the earth. We believe that these machines in the labs are attempting to follow their programming or judgment's orders and continue the artificial life project, along with trying to salvage and repair the Titan. Many creatures can be seen grown in these test tubes in the lab, blue-skinned ones among them. The cyborgs have all salvaged parts from the Titan, parts that can be used to reassemble the old or create a new Titan. Its heart and eyes are still working. As this was the region where the Titans were likely created and stored for lab study, it was hit by the full force of Judgment's armies, turning the area into a complete wasteland. The first victim of the invasion. Whatever city was once here has been destroyed. It can be assumed that the landscape was not always arid and completely barren. The Elder Lizard tells of how his tribe discovered the elevator into the labs where they foolishly released the cybernetic life forms, which killed a few of them. Retreating to the surface, the lizards now live a meager existence, sometimes eating their own tails to make ends meet.
Gross.
And that's the grossest internet backstory.
Internet backstory.
And that's it. Time to switch gears and say one last thing. This is not an internet backstory, but I wanted to kind of close the loop on all those modules. So we noticed before that there are 5. There are about 8 modules per area, leaving a total of 32 modules. And once you actually get all 32 modules, are you wondering if there's anything that you unlock?
Yes, I am wondering that.
You unlock challenge rooms and an achievement.
Yeah.
So nothing. You get nothing. Good day, sir.
What is that, Willy Wonka?
Yeah. It's such an apt little rant. I've used it for so many things.
Nice.
I think I used it at work once, but I was not yelling. I did say good day, sir.
Nice.
Good day, sir. Anyway, that's been Hyperlight Drifter. Guys, this game is awesome. If it wasn't obvious enough already, play this game. It's relatively inexpensive. I think it was $15 on the PSN store.
So good.
It's so cheap. It's so good. It may only last a few hours, but at the same time, you're really going to enjoy that. I've never understood people who judge games based on how long they take. Honestly, getting older, I appreciate games that condense a great time into a short amount of space.
It's not even that short. You got to explore a shit ton.
Yeah, that game took me 12 hours to beat. That's not short.
Yeah, that's a lot.
like not just 12, like 12 continuous hours of gameplay. Maybe it took like
Right.
more like 16 for me because I was stopping and writing notes a lot. But like,
No.
like that's a lot of content. Like, I'm getting on a bit of a rant because a lot of these games who have open world games kind of say like, our game will span hundreds of hours and you have tons of shit to do. But the things that you do are the exact same fucking things over again.
Yeah.
It's like,
True.
go kill this thing, go find that thing, go bring this thing to that thing. Like, it's all the same shit. Like, don't put shit in the game to have shit in the game. Put shit in the game to make the game better, to add more of a story, to add more of a universe, to add more to the story, to add more to the challenge, not to just waste my fucking time.
Yeah, make it relevant.
And that's
Or,
why I like these types of games where they cut to the chase and all the good stuff is thrown at you up front.
Yeah.
That's why this game gets my rating of out of. Yeah. Thank you, Paul, for putting in the appropriate sound effects to explain my rating system.
Nice.
Do you think there's anything else that we've missed we should talk about? Again, I want to. Maybe you can say a few things while I bring up the creators from the Heart Machine so I can give them a shout out.
Sure. So next week we're starting a new game. Probably going to do an older game this time.
Yes.
We did a new game. If anyone has any suggestions, let us know. Email us. Tweet at us.
Yes.
Facebook message us.
At the Xstream, that's ITSTHEXSTREAM at gmail.com, or type us in on Google and then you'll take a look and you'll find all of our stuff.
That's right.
So I want to thank all of the amazing people on Heart Machine, the creator, designer, director, guy who did a ton of shit, Alex Preston. Fucking well done. This is really, really well done. Chelsea Hash, the technical artist, Chelsea Bolivar, the studio manager. A lot of actually, there's not a ton of people. I'll just say them all. Cosimo Galuzzi, the concept and environmental artist. Jack Koval, 3D character renderer, environmental artist. Max Kaufman, coding and gameplay. Michael Kwan, coding and design. Rich Vreeland, who did sound and music. Actually, I really like Rich's music. Is that Disasterpiece? Yeah. If you've listened to anything from Disasterpiece, I really like their albums. Sean Ward did animation and Zoe Quinn narrative design. So fantastic job, you guys. Well done. Actually, sorry.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, I was reading. They put up credits for an unannounced game. That's their.
Oh shit.
Oh shit. Okay, sorry. That's for the unannounced game. So actually, let me go again for the credits for Hyperlife Drifter. We have Alex, Bo Blythe, who did coding and design, Teddy Deef, coding and design, Casey Hunt, design and story, Rich Vreeland again, awesome stuff. Akash That. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Akash Thakar, who did sound, Sean Ward, who did animation, Lisa Brown, the design assistant, and Cosimo Galuzzi, the assistant artist.
Cool.
Again, it sounds like actually some of these people got promotions, so good on you guys. Anyway, you deserved it. You fucking nailed it. But I look forward to this unannounced second game because I really want to play it now. Hopefully it is the follow-up that we've been thinking of. They've been teasing through their designs. Who knows?
Yeah.
Either way, you guys nailed it. If you want to reach out to us, we really appreciate it. Again, it's the Xstream, ITSTHEXSTREAM on Google. Seriously, just type that into Google, all one word. You will find all of our shit.
Yes.
And I'm actually working on building us a website for the first time. Feels like out of a long time. And actually, we will have some big news coming up at the end of the month that we will be telling all of you about. And you will hear about that then. I just wanted to tease it now.
That's right.
But again, thank you guys so much for listening. And I don't have another outro, Joey. I keep forgetting to do one.
Maybe you should whisper something.
I love you platonically. Don't forget to write it down.
Yeah.
Never Sleeps Network. This has been a Never Sleeps Network production, executive produced by Alex Ross. For more information and content, visit neversleepsnetwork.com.